Nestle makes billions bottling water it pays nearly nothing for. The company's operation in Michigan reveals how it dominated the industry by going into economically depressed areas with lax water laws. In rural Mecosta County, Michigan, sits a near-windowless facility with a footprint about the size of Buckingham Palace. It's just one of Nestle's roughly 100 bottled water factories in 34 countries around the world. Inside, workers wear hairnets, hard hats, goggles, gloves, and earplugs. 10 production lines snake through the space, funneling local spring water into 8-ounce to 2.5-gallon containers. Most of the lines run 24/7, each pumping out 500 to 1,200 bottles per minute. About 60% of the supply comes from Mecosta Springs and arrives at a factory via a 12-mile pipeline. The rest is trucked in from neighboring Osceola County, about 40 miles north. Daily, we're looking at 3.5 million bottles potentially, says Dave Sommer, the plant's 41-year-old manager, shouting above the din. Silos holding 125 tons of plastic resin pellets provide the raw material for the bottles. They're molded into shape at temperatures reaching 400 Fahrenheit before being filled, capped, inspected, labeled, and laser printed with the location, day, and minute they were produced, a process that takes less than 25 seconds. Next, the bottles are bundled, shrink-wrapped onto pallets, and picked up by a fleet of 25 forklifts that ferry them to the plant's warehouse or loading docks. As many as 175 trucks arrive every day to transport the water to retail locations in the Midwest. We want more people to drink water. Keep hydrated, Summer says. It would be nice if it were my water, but we just want them to drink water. Nestle SA started bottling in 1843 when company founder Henry Nestle purchased a business on Switzerland's Montmorency Canal. Today, there are thousands of bottled water companies worldwide. There's even Trump Ice, but Nestle is the biggest globally in terms of sales, followed by Coca-Cola, Danone, and PepsiCo, according to Euromonitor International. Nestle Waters, the Paris-based subsidiary, owns almost 50 brands, including Perrier, S. Pellegrino, and Poland Spring. Last year, U.S. bottled water sales reached $16 billion, up nearly 10% from 2015. According to Beverage Marketing Corp. They outpaced soda sales for the first time as drinkers continue to seek convenience and healthier options and worry about the safety of tap water after the high-profile contamination in Flint, about a 2-hour drive from Mecosta. Nestle alone sold $7.7 billion worth worldwide, with more than $343 million of it coming from Michigan, where the company bottles Ice Mountain natural spring water and Pure Life water line. The Michigan operation is only one small part of Nestle, the world's largest food and beverage company. But it illuminates how Nestle has come to dominate a controversial industry. Spring by spring, often going into economically depressed municipalities with the promise of jobs and new infrastructure in exchange for tax breaks and access to a resource that's scarce for millions. Where Nestle encounters grassroots resistance against its industrial strength guzzling, it deploys lawyers. Where it's welcome, but Nestle pays little for the product it bottles. Sometimes a municipal rate and other times just a nominal extraction fee. In Michigan, it's $200. The Romans were among the first to see water as more than a basic need. They ranked theirs by taste. Aqua Marcia, from a spring about 60 miles outside of Rome, was among the best. In the 19th century, some of the first mass-market brands were S. Pellegrino and Vittel, now owned by Nestle, and Evian, a Danone label. Sales were driven by taste, as well as the age-old notion that the mineral contents are therapeutic, curing ailments from hangovers to kidney stones. There's also the issue of scarcity. The United Nations expects that 1.8 billion people will live in places with dire water shortages by 2025, and 2/3 of the world's population could be living under stressed water conditions. Failing infrastructure has already led to a near-total reliance on bottled water in parts of the world. Nestle started selling Pure Life in Lahore, Pakistan in 1998 to provide a safe, quality water solution, the company says. But locals wonder if the Swiss multinational is exacerbating the problem. 20 years ago, you could go anywhere in Lahore and get a glass of clean tap water for free, says Ahmad Rafay Alam, an environmental lawyer in the country. Now, everyone drinks bottled water. He adds that this change has taken the pressure off the government to fix its utilities, degrading the quality of Lahore's supply. What Nestle did is use a good marketing scheme to make tap water uncool and dangerous. It's ubiquitous, like Kleenex. People will say, "Give me a bottle of Nestle." Towns in Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin have turned away Nestle. In Washington, the mayor of Waitsburg, Walt Goebel, resigned last year after it was revealed that he conducted secret talks with the company about building a $50 million plant. The representatives asked for confidentiality of this proposal until they could determine the feasibility, Goebel wrote in his resignation letter. Town leaders later voted to reject Nestle's advances. Elsewhere, Nestle has largely prevailed against opposition. In Freiburg, Maine, it took the company 4 years to successfully appeal a zoning board resolution to build a facility it said it needed for its Poland Spring line. Last year, it gained rights to extract water for the next 20 years, and perhaps 25 more after that. In San Bernardino, California, Nestle has long paid the U.S. Forest Service an annual rate of $524 to extract about 30 million gallons, even during droughts. Our public agencies have dropped the ball, says Peter Gleich, co-founder of the Pacific Institute, which focuses on water issues. Every gallon of water that is taken out of that natural system for bottled water is a gallon of water that doesn't flow downstream. That doesn't support a natural ecosystem, he said. Nestle isn't the only bottled water company operating in Michigan, but it's the most controversial. Pepsi and Coca-Cola bottle municipal water from Detroit for their Aquafina and Dasani brands, respectively. They pay city rates, then sell the product back for profit. In Mecosta County, Nestle sucks up spring water directly from the source, which water conservationists say does more damage to the flow of streams, rivers, and wetland ecology. Municipal supplies come from larger bodies of water, so massive depletions, they argue, have less of an impact. Nestle's chief of sustainability, Nelson Schweitzer, responds, "Water is a renewable resource. As long as you manage the area, water will flow in perpetuity." Nestle purchased Ice Mountain from Pepsi in 2000 and moved the production facilities from the East Coast to mountainous Mecosta. State and local officials appreciated the business and offered a $13 million one-time tax break. And when people found out that Nestle was pumping water in their backyards, however, they formed an opposition group. The case dragged on for 8 years and cost the group more than $1 million. In 2003, a judge ruled against Nestle, saying that data documenting 3 years of extraction by the company showed a significant depletion of the area's streams and wetlands. Nestle appealed, and the case lasted 6 more years before the two parties settled in 2009. Nestle would reduce pumping from 400 gallons per minute to 218, with further restrictions in spring and summer, which residents hoped would limit the environmental impact. Nestle is quick to point out that it has nothing to do with water problems in Flint or elsewhere. What happened in Flint and what's happening in other communities in the U.S. is absolutely outrageous, says Schweitzer, the sustainability chief. Nestle even teamed up with Walmart, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi to donate 35,000 bottles per month to Flint residents for school children, he says.